It's an entire year after Sebastian's disappearance. There's no really strong lead, there's no sighting yet. So tell me what you're feeling now. Here we are 1 year later.
I struggle to put words to how it feels, honestly.
That's Chris and Katie Proudfoot, and I think they know what happened to their missing son, Sebastian Rogers. So in today's video, let's watch their most recent interview and count all the red flags. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit like and subscribe. For early access to new videos, exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. Now, even if you followed my channel for a while, you might not be familiar with this particular case because I haven't covered it as much as other ones like Madeleine McCann and JonBenet Ramsey. So here's a quick recap. Sebastian Rogers is an autistic teen who disappeared last year from his parents' home. He was home alone with his biological mom, and his stepdad, Chris Proudfoot, was supposedly out of town at the time. Despite a massive search effort in Tennessee, where he's from, there's still no evidence that would suggest one theory, like a kidnapping or a runaway, over another. So put a pin in all that because it's going to be important as we listen on. Finally, one last thing before we grab our deception decks and start analyzing Chris and Katie. In America, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But this isn't a courtroom, I'm not a judge, and we're not a jury. We have every right to form an opinion based on the evidence available to us. You don't have to be sure of your opinion beyond a reasonable doubt to utter it, nor does the evidence you use to form that opinion have to be admissible in court. In other words, innocent until proven guilty is a legal concept. It's not life advice. And to say otherwise is to delegate your critical thinking to someone else. Okay, now that I got that on the record, let's listen.
So here we are. So it's an entire year after Sebastian's disappearance. There's no really strong lead, there's no sighting yet. So tell me what you're feeling now. Here we are 1 year later.
I struggle to put words to how it feels, honestly. The amount of ups and downs, the amount of possible leads that haven't panned out. We every day, it's like waking up to this reality that it's actually real. And Sebastian should be home with us. He should be in school, he should be playing, he should be learning, he should be experiencing life. And until we can find him and until we can bring him home, we're going to keep doing everything we can to make sure that people don't forget about him. We're going to keep making sure that we spread awareness for him, and we're going to keep searching, and we're definitely going to keep praying.
Katie said they're going to keep searching and praying and doing all these things until they can find Sebastian and bring him home, which is an interesting choice of words. Remember, Sebastian's a teenager. She's not even allowing for the possibility that he might come home on his own. I would understand if the parents of a toddler like Madeleine McCann or Summer Wells said this, but when the parents of a teenager say this, it could be a sign that they know something happened to the kid. That's why they're not even considering the possibility that the kid could return home on their own. The case in point, of course, is Madeline Soto, who actually went missing the same day as Sebastian and was found to have been murdered by her mom's boyfriend, Stephen Stearns. What did he say? That he was never going to stop searching for her and that he was going to bring her home. Or if you saw my recent Scott Peterson video, you'll know I made the same exact point in that video. And in that case, it was even more egregious because his wife Lacey, who was missing, was a full-grown adult. So it really made zero sense for him to say that she had to be brought home. Now, does this mean that Katie killed Sebastian or she knows for a fact that he's dead? Of course not. But it is worth noting.
You've told me you do want to stay positive. I know you both want to stay positive. That's all part of it. So, in your mind, do you see Sebastian coming back through your front door? Do you feel he's okay, he's alive, he's out there?
I dream about it every day. I dream that one day I'm gonna wake up and this is gonna be a nightmare. But yes, I believe that my son is out there somewhere. I believe that we are going to find him. We are going to bring him home, and we're gonna find a way to recover from this. And I'm gonna watch him grow into a young man, and live the life that he deserves to have.
What would you say to him when he walked in that door?
Oh God, I don't even know if I'd be able to speak. I'd probably bulldoze him down with hugs. Honestly, when I picture that, I just picture being able to hug him, to hold him, to smell him. I mean, just to be able to hear his voice, to hear his laugh, to see him just be with us and be okay is like I can't wait to see my son. I want to find him so bad.
Two more unusual word choices. First, I think Katie's only said Sebastian's name once this entire interview, which is unusual and could be a sign of distancing language. In other words, the instinctive mental block between a perpetrator and their victim's name. Once again, this is something we saw in the Madeleine Soto case, and one of the reasons I was able to finger Stefan Stearns as the murderer and her mother as being complicit in her exploitation. But the second interesting word might be even more telling, potentially. And lots of you have pointed it out to me in my comments or in the DD forum and on X. But I think it was actually Mike DeMann who was the first one to point it out. And that is when Katie said earlier, I'd probably bulldoze him down with hugs, when she was talking about what she would do if Sebastian walked in through the front door. I've never heard that expression before. I don't think it's a common expression, and the use of the word bulldoze might be an example of leakage. And before you write this off as a long shot, just know that leakage is how I was able to determine Madeleine Soto's cause of death before her body was even found. So why might bulldoze be an example of leakage? Well, Sebastian's stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, who was allegedly out of town when he disappeared, operates heavy machinery. And second, the police at least had some reason to search a local landfill for Sebastian early on in the investigation. So this bizarre word choice might actually be Katie subconsciously revealing what she knows about Sebastian and where he might be, because when she talks about him, this is one of the words that bubbles up to the top of her brain. Long shot? Yes. Worth noting? Yes. Let's keep listening.
You think he's coming home, right? How would you describe what you all have experienced this last year with so many unanswered questions still?
It's horrific, to be honest with you. I don't know how to describe what it feels like to watch the news, to go hang flyers in every store, every business, every place that you go to, and still find that some people don't even know about it. To hear that there might be a lead, and then just to sit there and have to wait and find out that it's not him yet. And
it's pure hell. I mean, there's nothing you can, there's no words, there's no way to put how this actually feels. And anybody that can, I don't see how.
Lots of problems here, so let's go through them one by one. First, it's not hard to describe how you're feeling if you're actually feeling what you're supposed to be feeling. But it is hard to describe how you're feeling if you're pretending. In other words, if you're not actually clueless about what happened to your kid, it's really hard to describe the emotions you should be feeling if you were. In fact, it might be the hardest thing any liar has to do, and how we've caught so many hoaxers on the channel, because we always speak based on everything we know. So if you know something, it's really, really, really hard to talk as if you didn't know it. In fact, it might even be harder than the inverse, pretending that you know something that you don't, because there's more opportunity for leakage. And my second problem with this clip is actually a case in point of that. It's what Katie said when she was talking about getting new leads. Here's what she said. There might be a lead, and then to just sit there and have to wait and find out that's not him yet. If you don't know what happened to your son, how do you know from the moment you hear about a new lead what you're going to find out? Every new lead should be an exciting mystery, full of hope, only for a crash letdown when you find out it's not Sebastian. Not a waiting game where you're just sitting there waiting for the result you know is going to come. Finally, we have more distancing language. In fact, this might be the most egregious example of it. When Katie was talking about going into places and finding out that they've never even heard of Sebastian, she didn't actually say, I'm surprised they haven't heard about Sebastian or his disappearance. She just said it. And that's particularly disturbing because that's the sort of distancing language that we saw in the Madeline Soto case. And we do know now that Madeline was abused, neglected, and ultimately murdered by her mom's boyfriend.
There's no words, there's no way to put how this actually feels. And anybody that can, I don't see how. I mean, it's day-to-day life changes and you're stuck. It's almost like it feels like it's a Groundhog Day thing, where it's the same thing over and over. You wait and you hope a phone call may come in, you may get something, may get a lead. Turns out to be nothing. That's how it feels.
What is that message? I know we were talking earlier last week. Tell me what that message is that you want to make sure our viewers hear from you tonight.
I want to thank everyone who is searching. I want to thank everyone who is spreading flyers, spreading awareness. I want to ask everyone not to forget, and I want to encourage people to keep helping and to keep bringing awareness, not only to our son, but to all of the missing children, because they all deserve to go home. And I would also like to say that if my son could hear it, that we love him so much and that we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Describe your hope right now.
If you saw my last video in this series, you'll know that I think Katie has been watching my videos and tailoring what she says in her interviews to match what I say an innocent person should say in interviews if they actually don't know where their kid is. For example, one of the things on my checklist is that the parent should address their child through the camera, because if they don't know what happened, as far as they know, their kid might be out there and might be watching. But the mistake that Katie is making here is that she's not actually addressing Sebastian through the camera. She's telling the journalist what she would want to say to Sebastian. And that's just not what innocent parents we've seen on the channel, at least, do. For example, Seth Rogers, Sebastian's biological father, addressed him directly, multiple times. Nor does Katie do other things like plead for any potential kidnappers who might have her son to return him. And in one of the most heartbreaking videos I've ever done, we saw Michael Monkey Vaughn's mother do just that with someone who she thinks took her son. But Katie said plenty of other things here that jumped out to me as red flags. And since I want to do this justice, let's break here. We're about a third of the way through the interview. I'll put my last video on your screen now so you can check that out. If you want to continue the series, let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing. Until next time, stay true.